Hello, this is Tara Betts, and I just wanted to share a few poems from my latest collection, Break the Habit. I didn't do that when the book first came out. There's a few pieces that are online here and there, and I figured it would be nice to share them, put a face on it during the pandemic. I've been reading newer poems mostly since the pandemic started, so hopefully we'll see what happens with that as time goes on. But Break the Habit is still in print, still available on online vendors, and I just read a couple of poems. Um, Two that are close to the beginning and two that are close to the end of the book. So this is the first poem in Break the Habit, A Lesson from the Terrordome. Echoes of sirens blared while phrases belted from the boom of Chuck D's voice, left imprints sinking into memory that bob up when buoyant history is necessary. The blast and thump of Welcome to the Terrordome droned intent with Flavor Flav's clock swinging on his neck, a manic shining searchlight beaming from a black planet that still embodies fear and chaos for some. When the dancers marched and pivoted in lockstep military formation in front of a target with crosshairs imposed on a black man's silhouette, Chuck D insisted to everyone in earshot, "Come on down." The sample's rapid response to "Get down" fired back, but the internal rhyme in the shooting of Huey Newton never left my head. It sent me, curious, to a small Midwestern library before internet searches streamed into houses. So my finger traced columns in an antiquated guide to periodicals, flipped it through a card catalog's long shelves, looked for the ends, then Newton. Who was he? When I clicked the microfiche onto Spindle and rolled through articles moving across a white screen, squares of photos and text rolled one frame at a time until the brief article appeared. Black Panther found dead in Oakland. I shook my head and silently asked how much of the story is missing, how I wouldn't even know about the bullet dropping Newton if Chuck hadn't told me. So that's the first poem in the book. I'm gonna go a few pages in, and this is kind of, mm, sometimes you just feel like something's on you. Um, this is kind of a love poem, and it's inspired by a poem by Gerald Stern. I believe his original poem was called The Dancing, and I was kind of wanting to write a poem that came before the dancing, hence the courting. The courting after Gerald Stern. In every dark jazz club, in each smoky corner among empty glasses and rickety chairs and cabaret tables, I have never seen a man dressed in a tailored suit, nor heard Coltrane's Love Supreme how I might in 2006, within the dimmed hollow of Smoke Lounge, nor blushed as I did then, my dress all snug, my hair just curled, my eyes bright with nerves, his face lit with awe across his cheeks, smiling the smile of Puerto Rico, the temple of Cuba, part Claves, part Guido, the diaspora finally bridged, the two of us smiling and watching, the two of us wondering and listening as if we were fusing, as if we would always connect. In 2006, in New York City, grimy, crowded New York, home of the Vanderbilts, some buried nearby close to this uptown flirting, in the Bronx. Oh, Jesus of colonizers. Oh, Jesus. So there's a lot of stuff looking back on love in this book and loss, and not just losing a relationship, but grief. And I think I've been thinking about that idea for a long time now. What does it mean to lose things, to lose people, to lose places. And it's one of those eternal themes that poets always come back to. So I'm going to close with these two poems. Um, One of them is Everything Leaves, and I feel like it talks about that kind of brutal hurt of the leaving and the loss. And then the last poem, Go, is kind of just about willingly letting things go so you can be the person that you are, right? And I think if we remember that when we lose things, we can understand there are new things to be gained, right? So I'll read the two poems. Everything Leaves. There should be symmetry in the body of living, uneven in places, not scooped hollow, whistling its winter clear through inside outward. Some eager collapse waits to cave in and ski my gait into stumbling. Not the skin scraped clean, no fat and blood rinsed away, not lopsided or cold. Sleep became an open tunnel with crooked turns. Numb waking life sits like plated white rice. Every grain dull as serrations on butter knives. Tiny points fantasize about zigzags of brutality. When you want to explain missing pieces, hands holding hungry knives seem to appear more often. When you want to find what has been carved down, decomposition has no mercy or autumn colors. Everything leaves, whittled down, mine to watch the canaries chirp their last songs just before lanterns and bones are crushed with the veins of ore untapped, inky carbon in the lost and found that no one checks. The fragments flaked into chips and blades drawn remind me there is so much more that could be taken. And Go. It's the last poem in the book, and it's a golden shovel. It borrows a line from Gwendolyn Brooks' poem Old Mary, and in the poem, the the line I borrow from Old Mary is, "My last defense is the present tense. It little hurts me now to know I shall not go." So I'll leave it at that. Go. After Gwendolyn Brooks' Old Mary. If you examine the embers of my life, they will be burned to the last. If anything is worth loving, defense rings its resonant siren. Weaponry is an option that boldly blacksmiths the tender blooming sprout of the present. I seek methods to fortify a steely tense because the heart requires smelting. It wavers in the hungry yellow tongues, little strong licks of heat that echo many hurts. I cannot deny what rocked and kept me, what once made me feel safe, gone now. Ashes, dust, burned, singed, blown to a language that wind and soil must know. This wild whisper runs inside me, and I must answer it, or the rustling of skin shall molt what is left. I will never, I will not allow myself to live half a life, so I must go. Thank you. I hope you enjoy Break the Habit if you happen to check it out, if you haven't already, or if you're already a fan and you've been reading the book. I'm really excited to see some responses to this. I don't always read my own work in videos. I like reading work by other poets who aren't around anymore to read for themselves. So I hope that, if you're going to look at a living poet like me, that you enjoyed this. All right. Take care.